What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys a tool that you can use to attempt to time the tops and the bottoms of a Bitcoin cycle. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of these great videos or urgent market updates that we upload to the channel. And if you haven't already joined the Candle Mafia, make sure you head over to frankiecandles.com and check out our deals page where you guys can get some really good deals if you're looking to sign up for some services or exchanges such as Femex or KuCoin. We have some pretty good deals on both those exchanges. And if you want to go from crypto beginner to absolute crypto expert, you can also get our BitLab Academy deal at frankiecandles.com. Now, the CBBI, or the Bitcoin Bull Run Index, is a tool that is somewhat similar to the Fear and Greed Index, which I know a lot of you are probably familiar with. The Fear and Greed Index, if you don't know, basically spits out a number, and the higher numbers would indicate that the market is feeling extreme greed, and a lower number would indicate that the market is showing more fear, right? And this is helpful because if the Fear and Greed Index is very high, it might indicate that it's a good time to get out of the market because, as you guys know, you want to be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Now, the CBBI, I actually like a little bit better than the Fear and Greed Index for a couple of different reasons. Number one being the chart is much better in my opinion. There's much more information laid out on the chart and it's just much clearer to read, and we'll get into that in just a second. The other reason I like the Bitcoin Bull Run Index over the Fear and Greed Index is that they actually show you the 10 different metrics that go into creating this chart. And not only do they show you, but they allow you to turn each metric on and off, and as you turn them on and off, they will disappear off the chart. So if you only want to look at certain metrics graphed together on the chart, you can do that. And on top of that, they have linked every single metric. You can just click on each metric and it will bring you to a website and explain what each metric is based off of. And I think that's very helpful because I think it's important to understand what goes into these tools that you use to try to predict the market. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. I'm gonna show you guys the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. I'm gonna show you how to read the chart, and we're gonna look at not all of them, but we'll take a look at a couple of the actual metrics that are incorporated into this chart, so we can kind of learn a little bit about what goes into calculating the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. So here we are on the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. You could do a quick Google search for CBBI, and it should be the first thing that pops up, or you could come to colintalkscrypto.com/CBBI. So shout out to Colin Talks Crypto. I actually think it's a YouTube channel. I do believe that he is the one that created this, so shout out to Colin Talks Crypto. I absolutely love this tool. Now, if you come down a little bit, you can see there's a little description of the Bitcoin Bull Run Index, the CBBI, and it says that the CBBI is a Bitcoin index that utilizes advanced real-time analysis of 10 metrics to help us understand what stage of the Bitcoin bull run and bear market cycles we're in. The confidence score indicates whether we are approaching the top or the bottom of a blow-off Bitcoin cycle. The CBBI has been trained on the blow-off tops of 2013 and 2017. As such, its purpose is to identify the characteristics of a blow-off top specifically. Now, if we continue down a little bit here, you can actually see the 10 different metrics that go into calculating this chart that we're about to take a look at. So you can see here you have the pi cycle top indicator, the new pool chart, the R-HODL ratio, you got the 2-year moving average. I actually really like this one. They include the Google search term analytics for the word Bitcoin, which I think is a very good thing for them to incorporate because, as you'll see in a few minutes, if you look at the Google search analytics for the word Bitcoin, you will notice that when the search term analytics peek out for the word Bitcoin, it typically lines up perfectly with our tops of cycles. So very powerful metric. I love that they incorporated this. So if you keep scrolling down here, this is the actual CBBI chart. As you can see in the red, green, and yellow line here is the Bitcoin price. And then you have your other metrics behind the price line, right? So you can see right here in 2013, 2014, you can see we came all the way up, right? And then we came into the red right here, indicating that the market was getting overheated. The CBBI confidence score was a 92, so getting really close to that 100 mark, which would indicate a top. And as you guys know, in 2013, we did get a double top in that cycle. So our first top peaked out at a 92. We came down, and you can see, I love that this is color coded. You see it goes all the way into the red, and then as we come down, it comes into the yellow. And then we came up for our second top here, topping out at 100, indicating that we were at the top. It called it perfectly. And then we came all the way down in the bear market. And then at the bottom of the bear market, you can see we got this dark green color on the price for Bitcoin, and the confidence score was all the way at a 2. Right? So the peak of the cycle was at 100 and the bottom of the cycle was a 2. So you can kind of see that. You could think of it as if you're at 100, you're 100% confident you're at the top. And then, you know, obviously the opposite for the lower numbers, right? If you're at a 2, it would indicate that you're pretty dang close to the bottom. Now in 2017, you can see we rode up, all the way up, had our big blow off top in 2017. We came all the way into the red. We pulled another 100 on the CBBI confidence score, indicating that we were at the top. And then boom, we came into our bear market in 2018, and you can see right here, we came into that dark green when we hit the bottom. And at the bottom of 2017, the confidence score was at a 3. So you had a 2 at the bottom of the cycle before 2017, and then in the 2018 bear market, you pulled a 3. Then you can see, obviously, we came up again in our new cycle here. Now, this is actually very interesting because if you guys have watched our video on the false top theory, if you guys haven't seen it, I will link it in a card above right here. Basically, you know, that video talks about how the first top that we saw in the current bull run that we just went through, the first top was actually the peak of the cycle. And then when we came up to make our new all-time high, that may have actually just been a dead cat bounce that for one reason or another made a higher high. Now, this isn't a false top theory video, so I'm not going to go any further into that, but the CBBI does support the possibility of the false top theory being true. So you can see we came up and we started getting this orange color, this orange reddish color, right? And then we came up to an 80 on the confidence score before coming down in May, and then, you know, coming back up for our all-time high. But you'll notice our all-time high only peaked out at 62. So there's something fishy going on there. Either our top was all the way over here and we just happened to peak out at 80 this time, or maybe our all-time high hasn't been put in yet. I don't really believe that we will make another all-time high in this cycle. I think we will have to wait for the next cycle, but hey, there are some things pointing to that. Now, just to go a little further into this, let's come up to these metrics and take a look at some of the metrics that go into making this chart. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pi cycle top indicator. So we have a nice chart here that kind of shows you, but if you scroll down a little bit more, it actually gives you a definition of what goes into the pi cycle top indicator. So if you read it here, it says the pi cycle top indicator has historically been effective in picking out the timing of market cycle highs within 3 days. It uses the 111-day moving average and a newly created multiple of the 350-day moving average, right? So it's a multiple of 2 of the 350-day moving average. And I think it's important to note that the multiple is of the price values of the 350-day moving average and not the number of days. And then it says for the past 3 market cycles, when the 111-day moving average moves up and crosses the 350-day moving average multiple, we see that it coincides with the price of Bitcoin peaking. So if we zoom in here, you can see you have our orange line crossing over the green line, and the orange line is the 111-day moving average. The green line is the 350-day moving average. So when you get the orange line crossing over that green line, it basically marks the top of the cycle. Now, if we zoom out, you can see right here is where that cross happened, and it lines up perfectly with the top of that cycle. Then we came down into the bear market and came up for another bull run. Now, if we zoom in on this one, you can see the cross happened right here, marking the peak of this bull run as well. This was the 2017 bull run, and marked the top absolutely perfect. Now, if we come to our current bull run that we're in right now, you can see right here we did get the cross, and it marks the top of this cycle right here in our first top in 2021. So pretty interesting information. Now, let's go back to the CBBI. I think that's important to know that they take this metric into consideration when calculating this chart. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our 2-year moving average. And again, one of the things I love about the CBBI is when you click on these metrics, it brings you right to a website that explains exactly what the metric is and how, and not only what it is on the chart, but how it's calculated, right? So here you see the 2-year moving average multiplier is a Bitcoin chart intended to be used as a long-term investment tool. It highlights periods where buying or selling Bitcoin during those times would have produced outsized returns, right? So if we come up to the chart here, you can see our orange line is the 2-year moving average multiple, and then the green line is our 2-year moving average, right? So basically you have your 2-year moving average and then the 2-year moving average times 5, which is this red line or orange line up here. And as you can clearly see, anytime we're below that 2-year moving average, this green line, let's just zoom in here real quick. You can see anytime we're below that line and this in a green shaded area like this would have been the best time to buy Bitcoin, right? If you bought Bitcoin down here, you would have been buying the bottom, right? Absolute bottom. And then you can see after that, you came up in the 2017 bull run. And then, if we zoom in on this run here, you can see you ran up. And then when you crossed over that 2-year moving average multiple, this would have been great time to sell. This would have been a great time to sell. So you came up, you had your first peak, you came back down, you came back up for another peak, would have wanted to be selling up here, and then you came down, and when you crossed over this green line again, you're right here. This would have been the bottom. You would have been buying the bottom. If you were accumulating all down here, this would have been the best time. And then if we zoom out, you can kind of see you would have been buying the bottom, and then you came up in your 2017 run. You're shaded in the red again at the top of the 2017 run. You would want to sell up there, and then you're coming down, and then you're underneath the 2-year moving average again. This would have been buying the bottom of the bear market, and then you come up into your next bull run. And the interesting thing about the current bull run that we just experienced is that we never came into the red, which is one of the things that makes people think that we might not have seen our all-time high. So it is very interesting that we never came above this line, but you will notice that right now we are below that 2-year moving average in that green shaded area right here, and that might be indicating that it's a good time to start DCAing into the market. So that is another powerful metric that is worked into this chart. So very, very interesting. Now, like I said, we're not going to cover all of these. The video would be an hour long. So just one more I want to touch on is this Bitcoin search term analytics. So if you go ahead and click on that from the CBBI website, it will bring you to Google Trends, where you can kind of take a look at the search analytics for the word Bitcoin. Now, if you go ahead and look at the peak right here in 2017, it peaked out in December of 2017. This was when the most people were searching the term Bitcoin, and it happened in December of 2017. Surprising enough, if you come to the Bitcoin chart and you go to December of 2017, you will notice that in December of 2017 was actually the absolute peak of our bull market. So you could have just been looking at the Google search analytics and called the top of the market. And you could see right here back on the Google search terms on May 16th, 2021 was when we peaked out on Google search terms. This was the highest peak we've had in the recent past. May 16th, 2021. If we come to May 16th, 2021 on our chart, you will know that May of 2021 was right before we saw our first massive dump. So very, very interesting that, Google Trends is able to call the tops like that. And, when you think about it, it's not that shocking because really all a crypto chart or a stock chart is human emotions being graphed on an actual chart, right? So it makes sense that these Google Trends would, kind of line up with the tops, because when everybody's feeling euphoric, Bitcoin's on the news, everyone's Googling it. How do I buy Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin? And that spikes these search analytics, but they called the tops almost perfectly, right? You had your top in 2017, your top in 2021. So absolutely a great metric to have included on the CBBI. Now, you'll notice if we look at the CBBI right now, we are currently coming in at a 22, and you can see that on the chart here, or if you just scroll all the way to the top. But it is very interesting because I know a lot of people think we are approaching the absolute bottom of this bear market. And it is interesting because we came all the way down to a 2 in 2014 and all the way to a 3 in 2015. It indicates that there may be a little further down that we have to go, because right now coming in at a 22, it doesn't seem low enough to be the bottom. If you're going off of this chart, it would indicate that maybe we have a little bit further down to go. And then also, if you look at the color of the Bitcoin price chart right here, it's light green. Typically, when you come all the way to a bottom, it gets dark green. So that is another thing that kind of makes you think maybe that will come down a little bit more. But there are all kinds of other nuances to this cycle that might indicate that we don't come down that low, such as not having a massive blow off top. As you guys saw on that 2-year moving average, we never peaked over that multiple of that 2-year moving average into the red. So we never really saw max euphoria at a crazy blow off top. So maybe we don't see a crazy, maybe we don't see full pain in this bear market. Same thing with the colors. We didn't come into that dark, dark red, and we're not really coming into the dark, dark green, but maybe we don't come into the dark, dark green because we didn't come into the dark, dark red. So this isn't really, a video about trying to time the tops and the bottoms. I just wanted to show you guys this tool because I think it's very, very helpful. And obviously you guys can see there are little check marks here. This allows you to turn each metric on and off of the chart. You also have this button down here that allows you to toggle all the metrics. So if you click that, they'll all get unchecked and you're left with just the Bitcoin price. And then let's say you wanted to look at the Pi cycle top indicator. Now that is the only metric involved in this chart now. And then let's say you want to look at the 2-year moving average and maybe the Bitcoin search term analytics as well. And there you go. Now all those 3 metrics are worked into this chart. So I just like that they allow you to mix and match and turn on and off the different metrics so you can look at the information as you see fit. And I also have to just point out this toggle all metrics button. I've used this already like 100 times. It's so much easier when you're looking at different things just to click this a couple times to get everything back on. So just nice and easy. And then also the fact that you can just click on any of these metrics and it brings you right to a definition with a chart, an example, and a description of exactly what goes into each indicator. I think it's really, really helpful. So guys, I think that's all I got for this video. Like I said, I just wanted to give you guys a quick intro to the CBBI index, or the Bitcoin Bull Run index, as I think it's a great, not competitor, but I think it's a great alternative or even addition to the Fear and Greed index that gives you a little more information, a little bit more of a detailed chart, and a little more customization, being able to turn on and off those metrics. And being able to click each metric and see exactly what goes into it is invaluable in my opinion, because you can actually learn what goes into the chart, which I think is very important. With all that being said, guys, I hope you learned something. That's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll.